Okay, so welcome back to another sneaker unboxing, and thanks for tuning in. Feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment or hit that notification bell, whatever floats your boat. But thanks for tuning in. Today we have a look at the new Air Trainer 1 with the Travis Scott collaboration with the Cactus Corporation. So let's have a look at the box. You can see it says Cactus Corporation, and there is a couple little references to Cactus Jack. But I've wondered why it's gone to Cactus Corporation, and my inference is that maybe Travis Scott is trying to get bigger than just the small studio Cactus Jack, and this is going to be maybe a clothing brand, or he's going to expand his empire, so to speak. So here's the size tag. I got my true to size 9.5, and it's the Air Trainer 1 CJ, so Cactus Jack, in the LT Chocolate Rust Pink. So let's have a look at these bad boys. So first of all, you get Cactus Corporation paper, and then you got the shoes. Anyways, I'll get both out here, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so they both came with the shroud on, but I took one of the shrouds off and sort of tried it on. I'll just start off by saying that these fit true to size. I have somewhat of a wider foot, and I bought my true to size and they fit great. The only complaint I have that way is, can you see the Velcro strap? There's a little bit of space because my foot's a little bit wider in this area, and it kind of leaves a little bit of the Velcro strap, the Velcro part showing, and then it leaves a little bit of a hump here where it's not stuck, because if I was to pull it all the way tight, then it would be tight down, but that's too tight for my midfoot, so I kind of have to leave it open, which causes that, and it kind of looks a little bit silly. But otherwise, I think they fit totally true to size. So the first thing I'll say is that this is a very unique sneaker. I showed some of my colleagues and some of my buddies, and they really like them, but at the same time, my impression is like it's a futuristic sort of military boot. The other thing I've heard it compared to is like a cross trainer, or sorry, a hiker, like a hiking boot. And so I grew up I'm born in '77, so I kind of came of age in the '80s and '90s, and I was always Air Trainer 1 curious. I really liked cross trainers. I remember that was the buzzword back in the '90s, the cross trainers, the do everything kind of shoe. So I've been Air Trainer 1 curious this year, so I was happy to get this W and have these for personal use. So first things first, you get this shroud over top, and it's very stretchy. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and stretch it out right there, and you can see it's very stretchy. But really, I think this is just for aesthetic purposes. I have no use for it whatsoever. If it's raining out, I'm going to wear something else. And I'm not going to store this shroud in the stash pocket. I would use the stash pocket for other stash. But I really like the idea that, you know, Travis Scott or Nike or the collabs are trying to push the envelope and just trying to innovate. And this is really neat in that regard. The one neat part is the cutout right here where it goes around the midfoot lateral support part. It kind of looks really neat. It's very easy to take on and off. And two things. One, these buttons, or like the rivets for the button, they don't look that odd. I think they look a little bit different, but not odd. And maybe they'd be good for defense if you ever needed it. And then on the right foot, on the right sneaker, not on the left one, the front button rivet is totally perfect. But on the right one, it's kind of indented and looks a little bit odd, or sort of like an error, a manufacturing error. The other thing is the shroud that came on the right foot has a little bit of grease or something. You can see it's like got a couple little spots there that aren't coming out, and I'm not sure, maybe that's the paint or something has worn off from the shoe onto this shroud as it sits on it. So it's very easy to put on. I mean, if you're walking around like this is going to draw some heads. I mean, everybody's going to be like, what's on your feet, bud? But apart from the shroud, I think this is a very neat colorway. And of the four Cactus Jack collabs that dropped in May, late May. This was the one that I was most curious about and most interested in because, like I said, I was air trainer curious from growing up in the 80s, and I just like the colorway the best. And to be honest with you, I think I'd probably swap out with the black laces. I think the black laces would pop a little more than these brown. The brown ones give it more of the trail hiking shoe kind of vibe, whereas I think the black would maybe gentrify the shoe a little bit more or make it a little bit just nicer looking. But the material, like I said, is very hard to describe. So the outsole is very flat and the drop on them is very minimal, so you feel low to the ground and very stable and very supported laterally. And I just really like the grip of the outsole, which I think was made for John McEnroe for tennis. And so this is different than your traditional Air Trainer 1 outsole. And I really like this sort of minimalist design. And when I tried them on, they were very comfortable. The back part of the foot was very, very squishy. So the front mud guard and the toe guard here and the back heel counter part feels like a rubberized Kevlar or something. It's like a checkerboard pattern that has almost like a waterproof feel. But you know, big deal if it's waterproof if this corduroy and this corduroy here and this corduroy at the back, this is all a textile. There's not a lot of leather on this shoe. I think the tongue below the perforations has some 3M. I think it's reflective. I'll show some B-roll, but I think it's reflective below the perforations in the tongue. The Nike swoosh on the lateral side is more like a fused plastic or rubber. It's just okay. But the one on the medial side feels like a really nice grippy piece of rubber. It's sticky and it feels really nice. So I really like the backward swoosh on the medial side. The sock collar or the ankle collar inside, the entire thing is like a waffle pattern. The knit is like a waffled stitch and it feels very nice on the foot. The insole is glued in, but for me I would be heating that up with a hairdryer and taking it out to put in my custom orthotics. But again, it fits true to size. And like I said at the beginning, I would be using this stash pocket not for this shroud. This shroud's going to sit in with my extra laces, just like this. It's not going to be even used. I have no use for these whatsoever, other than maybe a conversation point. But this stash pocket is quite substantial. I mean, on the inside it's very soft, and it extends. That stash pocket extends all the way down to the base, just below the Velcro strap that says Cactus Corporation on it. So speaking of stash pockets, you've got this back one, and I've seen in the reviews that you can hardly get anything in them. And that's true. I think what you could get in there maybe is bills and pills. That's about the only thing that would fit. If this was a military boot in the future, you could have your cyanide in there or something like this. And for those of you who have a hard time closing it, see right there, it goes closed, or it's hard to close, you just gotta go really fast. You kind of go, there, you see that? Another thing is, can you hear that noise? If you were walking, you might hear that. So I think a remedy to that, or a workaround, would just be to tie a little piece of fabric to this. Have a little pull tab or pull string, and that would insulate the sound, I think, a little bit. But speaking of colors, I really like the pink. I think you've got some brown, darker brown, and lighter brown, and then you've got some beige around the ankle here. And the pink, I think, just really, in a subtle way, kind of pops. So you have your Cactus Corporation new logo up here in the tongue, and then you've got Cactus Corporation on the back in pink. But I think the pink in a subtle way really pops. And then you have sort of a burgundy or dark maroon brown swoosh with a little bit lighter maroon here, and then just like a chocolate, darker chocolate with a lighter chocolate midsole. Anyways, I think overall this shoe is a keeper, especially with resale prices being basically above retail. I think it's a real good entry into the Cactus Jack collabs, and I'm not sure if it'll be a head turner, but in a subtle way. Like when you look at it, there's a lot of details. There's a lot of different thoughts that went into this shoe. It's a lot of corduroy actually, and I really like the toe box. I think it won't crease, and you know, it may get dirty, but what would you spray this with? Like a canvas protector or some sort of you know, waterproofing agent like that? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But anyways, overall, I think it's a really great shoe, and I'm happy to have it in the collection. So please let me know your thoughts and comments below, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend them to somebody. They look great, and thanks for tuning in. See you next one.